that as well. That, for example, we had, I think when both the consumer intention is there and the funding is there, everything else just like the bridge builds itself, right? Like I think that's a key thing. And we had, for example, in a very small scale, right? But like last year at Hatch, we had a sponsor called Fable, and they are an accessibility tool for research, and they're based in Canada. And they came and I was like, why do you want to sponsor a conference in Europe? And they're like, because Europe is paying attention to accessibility and the US doesn't really care. So we're actually opening offices in London, we're actually investing in all these events, we're actually doing all that stuff. And that creates, like, when there's that intention and that investment, everything else kind of like happens around it. How long does it take? It's a different question.
Apart from accessibility, Damien, do you see this transformation in other areas, this transformation from compliance into actual value?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's proven that accessible design is good design, that products that are accessible drive better business and have better retention, like all of these things are there. But I understand also when you have to do something because your mom tells you to do it, you don't really want to do it. But once you actually learn that what you're doing is good for you or you're enjoying it, it creates a very different dynamic. And there's entire companies, something like Lovable, for example, who decides to stay in Europe and brings the engineers from Seattle to Europe, from California to Europe, to live in Stockholm. Because they're like, we do not want to go there, and we know there's a hustle to go through all of these things, but we're staying here. And that's a statement.
Okay. Let's talk about local versus global. You mentioned it in your presentation. What I see is that maybe it's like this. Usually we got these products from the US that were made global first, right? So the US is used to making products global. Maybe they localize them, but it's usually a very surface localization, right? So, for instance, in many American products, I still struggle to get a proper VAT invoice. So, yes, they sometimes do it, but in a very narrow, distant place that I never find. It's always like that, okay? So, that's just an example. But if we try to do it the other way around, I mean, let's build it locally for Luxembourg, okay? Deeply inside Luxembourgian culture, then it gets really difficult to scale. My question is, maybe the real value is on the way you build it, right? So maybe what we're looking at is how to build products multi-locally, right? So maybe the value is to have designers that understand that adaptation and localization in the sense of culture is a feature that is embedded in the first design of the product, and then it gets easy to go deeper on actual localization. What do you guys think on this?
I think even when you try to put Europe in the same bag, we obviously are, tons of countries with very different history, very different cultures. Some who joined the European Union very early on, some who joined a lot later. So it's not like we can really create a homogeneous European society. But I still do believe that there's been work done from Europe to kind of try to not say like, let's make this flat and homogeneous, but actually let's allow everyone to have an experience where they can actually appreciate the difference in all the other cultures. And I think one of the very simple examples of this is the whole Erasmus program. All the countries in Europe hated each other after the war. And and European leaders thought like, what can we do about it? And it's like, let's actually send people to go to a strange country, to a place where they don't speak the language and see how things are. And after 35 years, then suddenly they'll